the second edition of the Social Media Summit for Government 2024 is set to take place on the 27th and 28th of June 2024. The summit will be convened under the theme Deepening Democracy, Citizen Engagement in the Digital Age at the University of Johannesburg Business School. The summit aims to bring together public sector and government communicators to discuss, debate critical issues and trends in digital communication and develop solutions. Now, the inaugural summit was launched on World Social Media Day on the 30th of June 2023 to celebrate social media's impact on global communication. Now, to take this discussion further, the CEO of Decode Communications, Lorato Tshenkeng, joins me now. Lorato, thank you so much for your time. So, of course, you know, it is 30 years of democracy, of celebrating our democracy in South Africa. It is a big year for the country. And if anything has to go by in terms of democracy being alive and well was the recent elections that were held. Let's talk then about how critical this particular summit, you know, is being held at the time where we are looking at deepening the country's democracy. What will the summit particularly, address?
Good afternoon, Onati, and good afternoon to your viewers. You know, and in fact, we did not even plan for it to come in at this time, right? Where on Wednesday it will be the inauguration of the new president. Is likely to announce his cabinet, shortly after that. And in a week's time, which is next week, Thursday and Friday, we will then be hosting the summit. So if we consider that South Africans generally, we depend a lot on credible information sources to be able to help share information on, a number of services. Think about, the biggest news recently in and around Gauteng has been the loss of water or the water challenges by Rand Water. And as it is Rand Water, the City of Johannesburg social media accounts remain the most credible in terms of keeping the residents up to date with the information so that they can then plan their lives around the inconvenience as well. And it is in that thought that we think about this is at the core of governance, right? With governance, government should at all times be communicating with South Africans, talking to them about issues that, affect us on a day-to-day basis, and even bigger issues such as policy issues, whether it's a national health insurance or any other that matter to us. And it's therefore, it was important for us to convene government communicators. And of course, as you rightly said in your introduction, we launched the inaugural summit last year. And we thought that with the University of Johannesburg, let us continue with it, because there is so much more that we need to be thinking about that affects how best we communicate as communicators, connect with citizens, but importantly, recognize that a thriving democracy thrives as a result of good, consistent citizen engagement.
And exactly, that was going to be my point. I mean, the vitality of democracy is really based on the active participation of its citizens. So talk to us then about the role of social media, digital technology, particularly in this day and time. So
today, one South African may have visited their favorite retailer hoping to find it open, and only when they get there, they find that it is closed. They could have easily, just gone onto social media and find out their operating hours. And that's the kind of convenience to a great extent that assists us. And that's at the very simplistic level, right, where how social media assists us. But at a deeper level, if you think about it, we talk about trust deficits or trust levels that are very low when it comes to South Africans trusting politicians, South Africans trusting their members of parliament or public representatives, and communication, particularly social media. So if you think about the 400 MPs that have just been, that are now in parliament, it is going to be important that as their public representatives, the public face of them connecting with South Africans, whether it's on bills, laws, or any other issue. Therefore, South Africans feel that they have a connection with a number of the elements of the state. Think about the judiciary as an example. Or on an ordinary day when a judgment is passed in any of the courts, whether it's from magistrate to the constitutional court, there would be a judgment that is passed. and there would be a media summary of that. And that media summary often helps you and I to be able to understand what the gist of that judgment is. And that is how helpful it is for you and I to then get a sense that the state cares about its citizens.
Do you think then, just on that point that you raised, that the senior public sector and government communicators are doing, a good job in terms of just keeping citizens in the know, particularly as it pertains to what is currently happening in this country post the election? Because, whether we like it or not, the political landscape has changed drastically, and there is a lot of uncertainty at this point in time. So how important then is it for media or government practitioners in the media space, to bring their consumers, or I would say their target audience, closer during this particular time?
It is unfortunately a hit and miss, right? So if you consider, for instance, the presidency, when President Ramaphosa was inaugurated in 2018 for the first time, one of the first things that we saw, which we never had before, was that there was then a head of digital communications, who is Miss Ati Geleba. And Ati has been consistent in not only communicating the diary of the president, but if you, for instance, if you just think about, if you perhaps think about
seem to have lost Lorato on such a crucial point. But of course, that was Lorato Tshenkeng just giving us a glimpse into the second edition of the Social Media Summit for Government 2024, which is set to take place on the 27th and the 28th of this month.